something like that. Let's break down now. How did we do that? I don't know. Well, one of the important parts is that we've retuned our ukulele to facilitate that. So we have, this is tuned to a G. So first of all, because we're simulating, this is a Slack Key guitar song. I'm not really a Slack Key guitar player. I play mostly standard tuned guitar. But if we have a low G here, then a C and an E, and we tune this, and normally this would be this pitch, the A, but we've tuned it to G. So this is an octave now. So that changes our chord structure actually quite a bit. That's a C now. And also, this is a C now. The other chord in the song is a G7, where ordinarily our G7 would sound like this. It would look like this, but it would sound like. So what's interesting about this G7, there's no B in it. The third's not there. It's a 1 and a 5 and the dominant 7, and then it's got another 1. There's no la. So it's a very interesting open sound to the G7, and that's part of the characteristics of the Slack Key sound when you're playing. The other characteristic of the sound, a general thing we're doing, is we're alternating bass notes. If I'm on a C chord, and I can go, so I've got C, G, C, G, C, G. So that normally on a Slack Key guitar you'd have 2 more strings up here. We don't have those on a uke, so we got to take advantage of what we've got. When we're on that G chord, the G7, we've got G, D, G, D, G, D. So if we can alternate it as a general rule, that's an important feature of what we have going on. In the beginning, I think I started with kind of a Slack Key style vamp, and one of the patterns we hear a lot it's kind of hard to, once you learn it fast, it's hard to do it slow. So it's like taking, this is a Slack Key G7, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to add, this is going to be open, you're going to, let me put the other, so we're going to pluck it open, pluck, hammer 2, it's a hammer pull. So it's kind of fast. Then we're going to place 2nd fret on this string and back to here. So we've got like that. Then we're going to come in here. Now this feels weird because you're not expecting those 2 notes to be a whole step apart, because ordinarily they wouldn't be, but we're slacked, so the string tuning pattern is different. So it's a little counterintuitive, but it's surprisingly simple and ridiculously cool. Come in here with a pinky and slide up. So we make our G chord, or our G7 chord rather. So that's our little riff. I'll do it again. So that's kind of cool, right? You hear that all the time out here if you live in Hawaii. Okay, the other thing that we saw in the beginning was this little lick. So it's a triple hammer and then another note. So it's pluck the G string, then hammer 2nd fret, hammer 4th fret, hammer 5th fret, and then immediately pluck the number 3 string open. And if you do that and go right into the pattern, it's kind of cool, huh? We could just vamp this and wait to start our melody, or we could do another one of any one of a number of Slack key licks. But let's go into I didn't play any of them, so let's go into our pattern. So we've got double stops here for our melody. Our melodies here. But we're going to play it with double stops to make it a little bit more interesting. So we've got that's just standard double stop series, because we only retuned this string, right? But these two strings we didn't retune, they're the same. So it's the same double stop pattern. 3rd degree, 2nd degree, and then open. Then we're going to go straight to a G7 chord, which remember is fingered differently because we're in Slack key. And conveniently, that's our melody note now. So that's just changing from that string to that string. So from the beginning of the verse, right? Then we've got that whole chord again. So that's just a pull off. We've got a chord again. So I'll play that whole section as a whole, the verse. Start with a slide. I mean, it's kind of fun, might as well. Then we've got our next phrase is going to be, so we're going to double that. Now this is a new pattern for you, because if you're used to playing standard tuning guitar, this is not a pattern. Normally you'd expect the pattern to look like maybe that, or maybe that, or maybe that. But that's standard tuned ukulele. This is now Slack Key Ukulele, so your pattern looks like this. So it's 4th fret, which is an E, and 5th fret here is now a C. So that's another kind of a double stop series for Slack key guitar. So this would be called a together because they're adjacent. That shape is called together. This shape is called apart because now they're separated by a fret. Apart, and that would be apart. This string open, and this string the 2nd fret. But this works just like every other Slack key shape you ever learned. If you learn any of the, any other double stop shape, it's always, like if we take this series, for example, because these are the same tuning. So we have, in this case, it's going to be straight, slant, slant, straight, straight, slant, slant, straight, right? They all work the same way. So we've got whatever your starting series is, then we have the other shape, then we have 2 of the same shape, then 2 of the other shape, then 1 of the same shape. So in this case, that's the original shape, then we have 2 of the other shape, and if we were to go down, if we could, it would be a together shape again, but we don't have that access because we're out of neck space here, so we're going to go. Just got a G chord there, or rather a G7 chord, where this is unfretted, right? Then we've got, so again, this is going to be a double stop with a pull off. Kind of cool, huh? Then we've got just a partial chord. So that series. So it's a useful melodic structure that takes advantage of these double stop series and the natural tuning of a slack key. I tried playing this in a standard tuning, and you can do it, but it turns out it's, I think, a lot more difficult. And it's a good opportunity to learn slack key a little bit, slack key ukulele anyway. So our whole verse then is going to start here. And then we've got, in the middle of the verses, we've got alternating between these two chords, and we're alternating our bass notes, and that's part of what makes it interesting. G, D, C, G, G, D, C. Then we've got a choice of how to end. We could end like this, but that's not very interesting. If we've got, that's a little more interesting. It's a little brighter voicing because we've got a C on the top now. We're in the key of C. And then, because we're in a slack key tuning, we might as well take advantage of some of these cool overtones. The 12th fret overtone is now a C chord. The 7th fret overtone is now a G chord. And then we just need to end with a C. And we've got our choice, and I chose this one because it was a little interesting voicing. It's just a C chord, but I've got C, G, and then an E, which is the open string not being touched. G, C, E, C. It's a little awkward fingering. You could finger it that way too, but for me that's even more awkward. So it's kind of nice because it's out of sequence. If we played it, if we wanted it in sequence, we could do it. This I think would be in sequence, right? That's just a straight C, E, G, C. But what we've done, we're taking advantage of the slack key tuning to do stuff that we wouldn't ordinarily do. So instead of this sequence, we're doing this sequence. I think it's a little nicer for an ending. So there is, that's quite a song.